So let's start with the first question. What's a must-win for Florida State this year? Of course, you can take that a number of different ways, Jason.
It's Wake Forest. The Wake Forest game is going to be the most important. It's the must-win at this point. I'm going to tell you why. The first 2 games of the season, we pretty much know what's going to happen. We know we're going to lose to Notre Dame. We know we're going to beat Jacksonville State. I think it's almost guaranteed that we will start off the season 1-1. Wake Forest is a team they're a good team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to defame Wake Forest in any way, but they're a team that right now, on paper, Florida State should beat Wake Forest. If Florida State wins that game, it's winning the games you're supposed to win, and that's something Florida State hasn't done the last 4 seasons. That's been one of the biggest problems Florida State has had the last 4 seasons. It also sets up to where that confidence for that Louisville game, for that Syracuse game, so that you're 4-1, possibly going into that North Carolina game 4-1, and maybe having some momentum of being able to beat North Carolina. If you lose to Wake Forest, you see how much in trouble we are, because then you're playing a Louisville team that you lost to by 32 points last year. You're playing a Syracuse team you haven't played since 2019 before going into that North Carolina game. To me, that Wake Forest game is the difference between possibly going in 4-1 against North Carolina or possibly even being as bad as 1-4. So I think the must-win game right now is Wake Forest at this point. What do you think, Nate?
Nate's either frozen or thinking long and hard about this one.
We'll go to Logan. We'll go to Logan. Nate's got to dial up, so we'll go to Logan. Logan, what is
you might be muted, Nate. Yeah, that's what it is.
There we go. Nate, give us your must-win right
now. My must-win, I agree with your point, because I think it's very true. Momentum is very big for this, but I gotta go Miami. And the reason why I go Miami is because of just the past few years, with everything at the coaches' convention, with the way they looked last year, with the in-state battle. I don't think Florida took advantage of either team being down. Miami had some good pub after last year and a decent recruiting class. I think you have to beat Miami just in order to keep nailing home that direction that you're getting back along. So I think you have to beat Miami.
I'm right there with you, and you have that one point about Miami. I'm going to go the recruiting route too for guys down there in the South. You're trying to break that whole kind of fence. I don't think there's really a fence anymore after what Jimbo did to him, but trying to create that attraction from coming up to FSU, bringing that back, because you've got playmakers like Travis Hunter coming that is already making waves all over social media, but to beat Miami like that, and for what it will do for guys that are down south, definitely like a Julian Armella that's there, Marvin Jones Jr., just letting them know that, hey, things we're getting back to how it used to be, where you're just beating the shit out of Miami on a regular basis. I get to say one, right?
You get one, Logan.
I get one, but it's perfect because we got a few Miami people over here.
It's a classy outfit here at the Voice of College Football, but we don't want to be too ridiculously stringent.
Guys, I hope we beat Miami, but I just speculate that we're going to have to wait till 2022 for that one.
I'm right there with Jason, because as I look at it, we've talked about the 5 almost certain losses, and then the 3 you would have to figure are give-me wins: Jacksonville State, UMass, and Syracuse. So the fragile psyche of this football team needs a win against a team that's comparable to them. And so that's on the road at Wake Forest. And they come home and they're at home, yes, against Louisville. So one of those 2 games, but Wake Forest being the first of the 2, I'm right there with Jason with the Wake Forest. But from a going beyond the field aspect, then Nate and Logan have the good point of the Miami game means more.
I think the Wake Forest, yes, I will agree with both Nate and Logan 100%. The Miami game does mean more, not just for the recruiting, but also for the Florida State fans. There's a lot of us down here, a lot of fans and alumni of us down here in South Florida. The Wake Forest game is also important because it's the only road game in the first 5 of the season. It's 2 at home, Wake Forest, 2 at home. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important for us to get that road. We need to have teams afraid that Florida State is going to come into your house, kick your butt, take your women, and come back home. That's what we need to make these teams afraid of. And right now, there aren't a lot of teams that are afraid of us. If you look at our schedule, based on what we've done the last 4 seasons, Are you afraid of Florida State? I don't blame you if you're not. So that's why we need to get that fear back into dominating the ACC like we used to when we first came in.
So, Khalil, this second question is actually a same version of the first question to a certain extent.
Well,
basically, he's asked, what's the must win or what's the we can't lose?
I don't know. I think we can't lose would arguably be, like you said, the 3 guaranteed wins. I'd say probably you'd say either UMass, Jacksonville State, or Syracuse. Because it could be. Let's just be realistic. The worst case scenario is Florida State loses to Wake Forest, loses to Louisville, and comes in that Syracuse game limping in at 1-3. And we don't know because we did not see Syracuse last year. We don't know if Syracuse is going to be a decent team or if they're going to be hot garbage. So Syracuse could come in to Tallahassee on October 2nd and win the game. I agree with you. I think they're going to be more in the hot garbage area, but you never know. At this point, you don't know because we didn't see them.
3-9.
The we can't lose, I would probably argue more Louisville. Mostly because of what Louisville did to us last year. I know Tutu Atwell's not with them anymore. I know that a lot of those guys who kicked our butt last year aren't on that team. But the fact is that we went up to Louisville and lost them by 32 points when they had one win. One friggin' win, and that's the team that kicked our butt. That's where you knew the season was in trouble at that point. So I think the Louisville game, to me, I know it's early. You could say I'm copping out by saying it's back-to-back, but I think Louisville is the game that you cannot lose at this point.
So
The game you can't lose,
I want
Logan.
to answer that question with
Go ahead, Nate.
Go ahead, Logan. I want to answer that question without kind of answering that question because I think this team needs to. When you look at what Florida State has seen in the last few years, is they've gotten now dominated against any team with a pulse. So I don't think you necessarily need to not lose to a team. I think against Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, you have to win 1 or 2 of those games, but you have to look competitive in all 5 of those games. I think you can't go out the egg and just get absolutely destroyed anymore in order to get back to all 5. FSU has to look
You think they're going to be competitive in all 5?
Clemson.
They need to be competitive? Really? I think here's a successful season for me for Florida State. Florida State, I think you would agree, Nate, they've got by far the toughest schedule in the ACC. It's not even close. Unfortunately, they've got to deal with Florida and Notre Dame out of conference. They play in the tougher of the 2 divisions. Plus, they got the 2 best teams in the other division, North Carolina and Miami. So I would like to see them pull off 1 upset against the 5 that they're going to be an underdog against. And then play competitive in, let's say, 3 to 4 of the other games. I would be shocked. I would think it would be a great accomplishment if they go 7-5 and they play competitively against all 5 of those teams. Like we're talking about one score to 2 score games. That's a lot to ask based on what we saw last year.
I think that, but last year, a lot of factors went in last year. COVID, no spring, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Florida State's address some of those issues at defensive end, a couple offensive linemen to help shore that up a little bit. I think
but
that
when
they
was the last time
had their best quarterback
they were competitive against
with Melton.
I'm sorry, Nate. When was the last time they were competitive against everybody on the schedule? 2014?
2016, maybe 2017, maybe 2016, probably.
No, we got killed by Louisville that year.
But for me, so I have a little bit different variation of competitive. They can't lose to Clemson and look like crap. They can't go to Miami and lose 52-10. They can't quit against Florida. I think Carolina they beat last year. I think that's going to be a tough game. Competitive is 14, 20 points, and they fight the whole time. I think where you're getting at 7 points, I don't think Florida State's there yet. I don't think they have them.
I think we're in the same realm when
I don't think they have enough depth there. I don't think they have enough pieces to. Yeah, I don't think they have Norvell needs yet. I don't think we're there of being within 10 points at Clemson. I think that they can be 21 points within Clemson.
Yeah, I think we're in the same realm when it comes to being competitive. I'm not talking about taking them down to a last-second field goal. I'm talking about getting into the third quarter, being within range, and then maybe you get dusted in the last 10 minutes. Maybe it's a 10-point game with 10 minutes left, and then all of a sudden Clemson scores a couple more touchdowns and wins by 24. That's still showing that for like 45 to 50 minutes of the game that you were playing with them. Yeah, I'm with you.
That's what I'm talking about.
So then our final question was...
Wait, Logan didn't give us his.
Oh, we missed Logan. Basically, who they can't lose to.
Who you can't lose to. These kind of questions always get me good. You can't lose to Jacksonville State. I'll be quick and easy then. Now we move on to the next one.
All right. So then the final of the trifecta is, who would you like to see Florida State, Jason, play in a bowl game that they haven't played in a long time or ever?
Well, Athlon has us going to the Holiday Bowl playing Washington. We talked about that earlier. I would love to go to San Diego. Washington is a team we've never played before. I wouldn't mind playing them. You know, we've talked about this before. Texas, I am crazy. Thank you, Baby Low. Appreciate it. Texas is a team we've never played before. I wouldn't mind playing Texas because I think Texas is an overrated team. We haven't played Penn State since the Orange Bowl in 2005 to end the 2005 season. I wouldn't mind playing them once in a while. Yeah, I mean, schools like that, I feel like we've played a couple teams once in a while, like Wisconsin. We played them in a bowl game in the Champ Sports Bowl. You know, that might be an interesting team to play. But probably now, just for argument's sake, I'd say either Washington or Texas would probably be the two I wouldn't mind playing that we have never played before.
This is one that haven't played. Man, I have to do my history on this one. I was going to say Texas too because that was my second favorite team when I was growing up playing EA Sports and CAA.
Mine was LSU.
Yeah. So, and plus Florida State plays LSU to start off the season next year in New Orleans. So that one's, already set up. So I was going to say LSU too, but probably Texas for me. I would love to go to a game. And if it's ever going to be in San Diego too, sign me up. Cali vibes. I like it over there.
All right, so Southern Cal, we haven't played them since '98.
Or USC. I played with USC quite a bit too on EA Sports.
So Logan's expert analysis is based on video games. Got it.
Yep.
Nate, please salvage the Noel Game Day family. Who you
got? Texas A&M.
Oh God.
Oh yes, absolutely. Perfect.
I would love to play Texas A&M again. When I was, a teenager, they played them a few times, and it's a different team. I thought about them, but Logan made my point with LSU is on the schedule, Georgia's on the schedule coming up, but a team like Texas A&M, Florida State has not played them in a long time, and just the stories would write themselves.